Hello friend. In this video I will be showing you how you can work on Python Django for taking user input. Well, these are few basic steps which you have to do it. The first step implies that if you need to create one Django project, you have to fire this particular command django-admin start project, and let's give the project name as user input. So once you have fired this command, what will happen? You will be able to see a Django project. The project name is user input. Let me show you what the project would look like. This is a project that get created after you have fired the following command. Well, by default this template folder won't be there initially. I have created this particular folder. You will find the project name folder, and within it you will find 5 different files, out of which this view.py will be not there initially. Rather you will have urls.py file. We will do some changes over here. By mistake I have clicked on that url.py file. Let me close this one. Okay, so this url.py we will see right from the VS Code. So let's open the VS Code and let's get into the project folder. Over here, as you can see, the project folder is there. Now what I have done is, inside the project folder I created a file called views.py. What is there inside this? I have written one function and I will explain the whereabout of this function, don't worry. Apart from this, the project will create one more important file that is called settings.py. Inside the settings.py, at first what you will do is that there will be an array called templates. Inside this templates there would be a key called dirs, within which I have created a folder name by the name called templates, and the same template name I have given over here. By default, by convention, the usual name of the folder is templates, within which you will be creating the HTML pages. So that folder name I have mentioned right over here. So this is the most important thing. And look, the folder is outside the project directory, so you have to keep this thing, this hierarchy has to be maintained. So what actually happens once you introduce this? Well, by default now if you create an HTML pages in your Django application, Django will be able to figure out that. So that is one important step which you have to do it. Now let me show you another important file that is called urls.py file. So let me open this. As you can see over here, I have added this particular path which won't be there by default. By default you will be getting the following path, but this is the path that I have added. So if you notice over here, this path has got the URL string, which is an empty string, and when the user will give the empty string, well, by the way, when this empty string will generate? Well, when user will run the project. Okay, so I need to run the project. So let's come over here and let me write the Python manage.py and run server, and I hit the enter. The project is actually started, and this is the root URL which you have to fire. So let's come over here, and I've already given the call to that localhost :8000, and that is what you are seeing. So where from this content is coming, that what we need to understand. Now this content is coming when you are given a call to this particular route. See over here, localhost :8000 is the default root route that I have given. When you are giving call to this, well, by default it is giving a call to this particular file called views. Yes, this views is present inside the project directory. That's the reason this inclusion has taken place over here, which is setting the path that there is a folder called user input, within which there is a file called views. Now let me open this particular file to show you that what is there actually. So let's come over here and let me split the screen so that you can see it, and let me open this one as well. So inside the views file I have created one function called home, and that function I'm calling, I've given a name to that function. Well, this name will be helpful when we will go for a nav bar. At that point of time this name will be quite important. So by default, when the user is writing localhost :8000, at that point of time this following function is getting invoked, and by default when the page is getting loaded, at that point of time this following thing will not work. Rather the control will come right over here and will give a call to the render function, which is present under this particular module. Well, this module goes like this: Django is a folder within which there is a file, there is another folder called shortcut, within that there is a file called render, and inside the render there is a function called render. That's what I'm giving a call. And over here the first parameter request, the second parameter is the name of the template that you need to open, and this template is coming from this template, and inside the template directory I've created one more directory called home. Well, this is your choice, you may give the home directory or not, that's totally up to you, within which there is a file called index.html which I have created right over here. That is getting called. Context we'll see it later on. So let me open this particular index.html to figure out what is there inside this particular template file. let me make enough space for this, and here the HTML template is all about. So if you can see over here, right now I have got a form tag within which I have a GUI element through which the user will provide the input. Apart from that, there is a string variable called message, which is currently empty right now, so nothing to be shown over here. So that's the reason, as you can see in the browser, let me minimize this. Over here you don't see any data over here, just you are seeing this particular text, 3 text box and the button. Okay, now what is there inside the form tag? The first and the most important thing is about the cross-site request forgery. Cross-site request forgery, there is a special token that is required from Django. If you are using the form and the form need to be submitted with the help of the post HTTP request, then you have to invoke this particular string, this particular token. Cross-site request forgery is an authentication process that ensures that the HTML is coming from a specific user. It is not from some unwanted person. Okay, so it's like authentication, like the uniqueness is maintained over here through this particular thing. So this is a security measure that has to be taken. I will show you one thing. So if I minimize this, because of this CSRF token, something you will notice over here. Let's right click and let's go to inspect element. So if I expand this, let me expand the body tag, form tag over here. See over here, there is input type hidden, this name CSRF middleware token, and this particular value is the value that is getting generated because of that CSRF underscore token. This is a very important part which you have to maintain, and this is the way Django will authenticate that yes, this particular form is coming from the valid user and not by some unwanted user. So this token has to be there. Make sure this is very important point. And then I have created a table where I have gone for 3 GUI elements through which the user will provide the input. This particular text box I have given the name as age. This is the second one is the first name and the third one is the last name. Now when the user is going to click on submit button, this form is going to be submitted, and eventually what happened, it is giving a call to this particular path. So that means initially this page is getting open, and after it has been opened, after it has been filled up with the data, the user will click on the button. So when the user clicks on the button, at that point of time again the page is getting submitted, and this point of time this view method is now getting involved. The first time there was no input, so directly the render was getting called, but now this is not the same. Rather, inside this request argument, whatever input this particular 3 text box user has given, that will be there. So with the help of this particular parameter, we will be able to extract the data that user has given on those 3 GUI element. Not only that, the form method was post type. This request is also present inside this particular argument or parameter called request. So I'm checking that if request.method, yes, what was the process of submitting? The process of submitting is a post. If this is true, yes, user has clicked on the button, then you do following thing. See, this is the way of retrieving the data. Request is the argument that holds the user input. Form is the method type because the method type is post, and the respective, there is a function called get, to the help of which you can pick up the data from this particular name. So this name, following object will be used to retrieve one after the other, and that will be stored in the respective variables. So 3 variables is there. Okay, now these 3 variables, whether they contain really data or not, that's what I'm evaluating over here. That if all the 3 variables has got value, then this if condition is true. Otherwise what happened, that means user did not give input. In that case, I have given a call to a dictionary, and that dictionary I'm creating over here. So there's a 2 way you can create the dictionary, using the curly braces, or else you can write dict within brace open brace close. So this will create dictionary which will have key value pair. So the context name is the dictionary name I'm writing over here, and I'm giving a key by the name called message, within which I have passed this particular string, and this particular dictionary I'm sending it directly in the render function. Let's consider user is not giving the input. In that case, the submit button took place, that is perfectly well, but there was no input in the corresponding variables. So the if condition will be violated to come to the else part, and this particular message will get initialized, and I'm expecting to see this message in the HTML page because in this particular dictionary there is a key called message, and that I will extract right over here. So if the message has got data, then the string interpolation will take place. Eventually what happened, I will be able to see empty values are not allowed this particular message. Let me show you that. Let's consider user is not giving the input. Without giving the input, let me refresh the page once again. User did not give the input, rather user click on the submit button. As I do that, I'm expecting the message will come right over here, which actually came from this dictionary. So remember, when the form is getting submitted, there was no data provided by the user. This condition was violated, the else part got executed. This is a dictionary with a key called message, and that dictionary I'm passing over here, and from this dictionary the key is been extracted, and that's what the reason why I'm seeing this particular string. Okay, but let's consider now I'm giving the input. Suppose my age is 78 years, I'm pretty old man, and here is my name called Swaroop, and my last name is Shah, and I'm supposed to click on submit button. So once I do that, this time what happens, the data is all inside this, all the three text box got filled up, the data is present inside this request, and here I'm creating a dictionary by the name called context, and the form submission took place post successfully, and from this three text box the value has been retrieved, age, first name and last name, and I'm checking whether three variables has got value or not. Yes, there is a value. Now I'm recreating the dictionary once again, and this time inside the dictionary I'm going to pass four keys: the age, whatever input I have given, that is assigned; first name, whatever first name I've given, that will be assigned; whatever last name I've given, that will be assigned, and the following format string will be passed inside the message, where this string interpolation has been done. So I will be able to see the following input what I have given in the text box through the help of Django, that will come in the template. Okay, because I have gone for format string, so all the input which is there right over here, those input will be shown over here, and that is what I'm passing inside this particular dictionary key called message. So when I will click on the button, the following message will be replaced by this message. Let me give over here, the following message got replaced, and by the name what I have given, that what I'm able to see right now in front. So that means what, with the help of Django I have been able to take the input successfully, and for doing so, what are the necessary steps you have to do it? At first you have to configure the settings. Well, let me brush up one more time. We'll come to configure the settings, where I have to mention the template folder, by the name template I have created, inside that which I have got an HTML page, and the page is in front of you. Don't forget to write the cross-site request forgery token, and then you have to complete the following GUI implementation and check the message whether the message is there or not, and then you come to your urls.py, add one extra more path invocation where you are calling the empty string, and following that you are giving a call to the file called view, within which there is a method called name. This home. This method is what I'm defining right over here. So inside this particular method, what I will write the body. Well, at first the render will directly get called, because at that point of time the page is getting open initially without any input, but next time when the user will give the input, then the request will hold those parameters, these DOM elements, and then from those DOM elements the value have been picked up, and then we are creating the dictionary, and eventually we are passing the value back to so this dictionary getting invoked, and this dictionary I'm passing it right over here, and from this dictionary the respective keys are being extracted, and then eventually the message getting generated right over here. Okay, so from this particular video you saw that how you can take input in the Django, and in my next video I will be working more on this input to make use of maximum different resources that Django provides. That will be the content of my next video. Until then, have a nice time, take care, bye bye.